Today, finding out you are pregnant is instant. You buy a test, you see a line, you look at an ultrasound. We know the exact biology of how life begins. You don't even think twice about it. But for 99% of human history, that science was completely invisible. Think about the reality of early humans. The act of making a baby and the baby actually arriving are 9 months apart. 9 months is a massive amount of time. Seasons change, people migrate, wars are fought. To an early human, these two events had absolutely zero connection. So how did our ancestors finally connect the dots? The answer completely rewrites the history of society, gender, and power. Let's start with the Ice Age. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans were nomadic hunter-gatherers. They didn't understand paternity. Anthropologists believe early humans thought pregnancy was pure magic. Maybe a woman bathed in a specific river. Maybe she slept under a certain tree. Maybe an ancestral spirit entered her body from the wind. Men were completely left out of the biological equation. But about 10,000 years ago, everything changed. Humans stopped wandering. They built fences. They started domesticating animals. And that single change gave them a front row seat to biology. This is where human culture shifted forever. When humans started keeping sheep, goats, and cattle in enclosed spaces, they noticed patterns. They controlled the mating. They saw that a female animal kept away from males never gave birth. They tracked the exact time delay between mating and the arrival of offspring. Animal agriculture became the world's first biology classroom. Suddenly, a massive realization hit them. The mechanics of animal reproduction applied to humans too. This wasn't just a scientific discovery. This single realization changed the entire structure of the human race. But before this realization, there was a completely different world, a lost state of human existence that is almost impossible to imagine now. Before they understood biology, humans worshipped the mother. For most of our ancient history, societies were heavily matrilineal. This means lineage, identity, and power flowed strictly through women. Since nobody knew men played a role in creation, women were seen as mystical. They brought forth life from thin air. They bled every month without dying. They held the ultimate power of the universe. Children belonged solely to the mother's tribe. There were no fathers in the legal sense. Men were simply brothers or uncles who helped hunt and protect. This was a completely different state of human consciousness. Life wasn't a biological process. It was a divine gift. So what killed this mystical view of the world? The exact same thing that taught us biology: farming. Once men figured out their biological role, the power dynamic flipped. They realized they provided the seed. As farming grew, men began to own land and accumulate wealth. They wanted to pass that wealth down to their own biological children. But to do that, they needed absolute certainty. They needed to guarantee the child was theirs. This biological discovery gave birth to strict marriage laws. It gave birth to the intense control of women's behavior. The magical, untamable power of the mother was systematically erased. It was replaced by property laws, bloodlines, and the patriarchy. We didn't just learn how babies were made. We eliminated an entire worldview. Today, reproduction is a cold medical procedure. We track ovulation on smartphone apps. We map DNA and chromosomes. We treat the creation of life like a math equation, and we look back at ancient myths as primitive or ignorant. But what if we lost something profound? For 300,000 years, your ancestors looked at a newborn baby as pure magic. They didn't see a biological formula. They saw the earth physically giving back to them. They lived in a world where human life was deeply, spiritually mysterious. We traded that ancient magic for biological certainty. And most of us never even knew it was gone.